We're in Hanoi in March 1977. Ambassador Leonard Woodcock leading the mission to begin accounting for U.S. POW MIAs following the end of the Vietnam War. And Ambassador Woodcock feels that the atmosphere has been so good, he wants to send a report to President Carter. So the more senior State Department officers on the trip and with the other members of the delegation get together, and he writes out a message, pretty brief, but Mr. President, we finished talks, and thus far the mission, these exchanges have gone very well. The Vietnamese are going to take us on a trip to the countryside where we may be able to reclaim some remains of U.S. servicemen who were killed or lost over Vietnam, North Vietnam during the war. So writes this, and at the end it says, respectfully submitted, Leonard Woodcock. So we don't have any communication device with us to transmit this to Washington. There were no satellites in those days, and no mobile communication equipment. There's no embassy to use. So what we do is, in this hotel working area where we've constructed kind of a secure overhead to shield us against any cameras that might be in the ceiling, and several of the military officers and staff who are on the trip take the message and they encode it. And the way you encode it is, we had some cryptological cards that would allow us to write it in letters that would be gibberish to anyone looking at it and reading it. But somebody in Washington would have the same encryption device that we had. They were called one-time pads. So you look at it and say, oh, the letter A is J. So you put a J, and the letter R is X. And you'd write these words that'll, J, X, V, K, N or something, but when uncoded, it would be, dear Mr. President, and all the words. So this takes several hours. And this gets finished 10, 11 o'clock at night. And what you do then to send it is, you take it and you go to the telegraph office, and you pay to, in fact, send a commercial telegram from the North Vietnamese Postal and Communication Office back to the United States, and it arrives then at the State Department. It's like Western Union would be how you send a telegram. So it's 11 o'clock, I've got the money, I now have the encoded message, and I said, all right, I've got to walk from where we are over to the telegraph office, ring the bell, wake them up, and send the message. So I start to leave, and this young Air Force officer on the trip said, oh, sir, you don't want to go alone, I'll walk with you. And I said, okay, that'd be nice. So we go out, and we're walking the streets of Hanoi, 11 o'clock at night. It's dark, deserted. There's no activity of any kind. Nobody's out on the street. There's no commercial activity. There are no restaurants. There are no places to go, nothing like a bar or a tavern. There's nothing. We're just walking on this dark night. And so he and I are chatting. I said, what's your name? Paul Mather. Oh, yeah, where are you from? Oh, he's from Iowa. I said, oh, you're from Iowa? I'm from Iowa. I'm from Dubuque. Where are you from? I'm from Greene, Iowa. So here we're walking. I said, what are the chances? And so he said, Did you serve in Vietnam? Yes, I served in Vietnam. My last post was in Saigon at MACV headquarters. I said, oh, I worked at MACV for a while. And then I got around and I said, well, my wife's from Vietnam. And he said, oh, my fiance is from Vietnam. And I said, well, when are you getting married? And he said, well, I don't know. Why not? Because she's trapped in Saigon. So here we are on the street. I stop. I hear him say this. I turn. I look at him. And I said, well, what are you doing? We're here to get her out. And he said something that was so powerful, so meaningful to me. I was so moved by it. He said, I could never, ever do anything about some personal issue of mine that might in any way jeopardize our mission. And it took my breath away. And I had such admiration for this young Air Force officer who, the woman he loved, he wanted to marry, but he would not endanger our country by trying to do anything to help get her out while he was there. So I said, oh, you should do this. He said, no, I could never do this. I said, well, would you mind if I tried to do something? Oh, sir, I don't know. I said, look, just tell me her name, write down her name and information about her. Just do that and let me try, see what I could do. And he's hesitant, but he writes it all down. He hands it to me. We go on to the telegraph office. We get there, ring the bell. The telegraph attendant comes out. I said, I'm here to send a telegram to the United States. And so she opens the door, sleepy-eyed, she's been asleep. And go in and looks at it and said, oh, this is all in code. You have to have a letter of authorization from the foreign ministry. So I start telling her in Vietnamese, look, we're an American delegation, we're here, we have a special status, here's my courier letter, etc. So she goes along, said, okay, and then tells me it's going to cost $895 to send a telegram. So it's a message to the president. Man, it wasn't like such really big news. I said, man, taxpayers' money. 1977, $895 seemed like a lot of money. I said, give me my message back. I went back to the hotel. I sent the message when we got to the next stop on that. Later, I tell the story to diplomats from other countries. They said, oh, we would have had to send it, no matter what it cost, just to save face. I said, I was saving money for the American taxpayers. So, but the story about Paul Mathers got another version, and I'll get to that.